Welcome to a journey of survival, chaos, and heart-stopping twists. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button for more thrilling and chilling stories like this. The morning began like any other for Isaac Rahman, a young trainee engineer at Breyer Consulting Engineers in Boston. The sun was still low, brushing the horizon with a soft orange glow as he hurried down the front steps of his apartment, suitcase rolling behind him. He had barely slept the night before, not from exhaustion but from excitement. After 8 long months of anticipation, his child had finally arrived, a baby boy. His wife, Anna, recovering at MedStar Washington Hospital Center, had called him with teary joy, "Come soon, we're waiting for you." Isaac's flight was in a few hours. Everything seemed perfectly aligned until the world decided otherwise. He booked an Uber as usual, sliding into the back seat where the driver, a warm, soft-spoken man named Jamal, greeted him with a smile. "Washington, big day?" Isaac grinned, the biggest. They cruised smoothly onto the highway. Traffic was light, sky clear, the morning peaceful. Boston, still half asleep, passed quietly around them. But then the silence broke. At first, it was just a tremor, a strange, barely noticeable vibration that rippled through the ground. Jamal frowned, glancing at the mirror. "Did you feel that?" Isaac nodded, gripping the seat. "Probably a truck." But then came the second jolt. Stronger, sharper, like something deep below the surface awakening with fury. And suddenly, the earth roared. Jamal slammed the brakes instinctively as the road beneath them began to sway, violently this time. Across the highway, cars spun out of control. A truck tipped sideways, crashing onto the asphalt with a metallic scream. Concrete from overhead signs began to crack, raining debris. "Earthquake!" Isaac shouted, but the word barely left his mouth when Jamal yelled, "Hold on!" He swerved to the Uber toward the shoulder, tires screeching desperately for grip. They stopped just in time, but not safely, not nearly, because out of nowhere, a black SUV, speeding and out of control, rammed straight into their car. The world exploded into shattering glass. The impact threw Isaac forward, his seatbelt biting into his chest. His head hit the seat in front, the air sucked from his lungs. For a moment, everything was silent. Then came the screams. Isaac tried to move, dazed, ears ringing. He pushed open his door and stumbled outside. The ground was still trembling beneath his feet. Smoke drifted in the air, the smell of gasoline, thick and suffocating. He staggered to the driver's side. "Jamal! Jamal, can you hear me?" Jamal was slumped forward, crushed between the steering wheel and the seat. Blood trickled from his nose, ears and lips. His breaths were ragged, wet, painful. Isaac grabbed the door handle, yanking desperately. Come on, please open!" The metal was twisted, jammed, completely crushed from the rear impact. Jamal's eyes fluttered open. He whispered, "Bro, help me, please." Isaac swallowed hard, panic rising. "Hold on, I'm gonna pull you out." He tried again, pushing, pulling, screaming in frustration, but the door wouldn't budge. The dashboard was collapsed inward. The steering wheel had Jamal pinned like a trap. Blood dripped steadily down Jamal's chin. My mother," he gasped. "She's waiting for me. In Bangladesh. I was going next month. Just help me." Isaac's heart shattered. The highway around them had turned into a war zone. More cars crashed, people screamed, alarms wailed. The National Guard was deployed. Civilization was falling apart. Then, as Isaac sprinted down the trembling highway, a car screeched to a stop beside him. The window rolled down. A 54-year-old man with steel-gray eyes and a Marine's aura said, "Get in, son. Name's Barry." You stay on this road, you're dead." Issac hesitated only a second, then climbed inside. And that decision—
The car door slammed shut behind Issac as the old SUV accelerated down the trembling highway. His breath came in shaky bursts, fingers trembling uncontrollably. His mind still echoed with Jamal's fading cries, an echo he knew would haunt him forever. Beside him, gripping the steering wheel with practiced calm, was Barry Coleman, a 54-year-old former U.S. Marine with a scar under his right eye and a voice roughened by years of battle and survival. For a few long seconds, Barry said nothing. The SUV jolted over cracked asphalt as aftershocks rippled through the ground. Finally, he spoke. "You're bleeding," he muttered. Issac wiped the corner of his mouth. It was blood. He hadn't even noticed. "I'll be fine," Issac whispered, voice hollow. Barry glanced at him briefly, then back at the road. "You're in shock. Anyone would be." Issac swallowed. "A man, my driver. I had to leave him. I couldn't save him." Barry didn't flinch. He had seen this kind of devastation before, just never on American soil. "In war," Barry said quietly, "you learn that sometimes survival is the only choice you get. You didn't kill him. The earthquake did." Isaac's throat tightened. He pressed his forehead against his fist. "I still left him." Barry sighed. "Son, you can't save the world, but you can still save your family. And for that, you gotta stay alive." Those last 4 words struck Issac like a punch. Stay alive. For Anna. For the baby he hadn't even held yet. He forced a breath. I need to get to Washington. My wife. My newborn son." Barry nodded once. "We'll get you as far as New York. From there, we'll figure out the rest." The SUV barreled forward. In the distance, plumes of fire rose from ruptured gas pipelines. Helicopters circled overhead like frantic insects. Sirens wailed from all directions. Cars lay overturned, streets split apart. No, this wasn't Boston anymore. It looked like the end of the world. "Barry," Issac whispered, "is this happening everywhere?" Barry tightened his jaw. "News says the quake hit from offshore all the way inland. East Coast infrastructure's collapsing like dominoes." Isaac's heart sank. "So, Washington too?" Barry kept his eyes on the road. "We don't know yet." Issac leaned forward anxiously. "I have to reach them, no matter what." Barry offered a single nod, the kind of nod soldiers give when they accept a mission. But their path was about to get darker. They sped past a convoy of abandoned cars, some still smoking, some crushed, some empty, with doors wide open as if their passengers had vanished. And then, the first sign something was wrong. Barry slowed the SUV. "Stay alert." Men appeared ahead, 20 or more, dirty, armed with pipes, metal rods, makeshift weapons. Their eyes darted like feral animals scavenging a dying world. Looters, predators, the kind that rose from chaos like vultures. They blocked the road. One stepped forward, grinning. Well, looks like we got ourselves a nice ride." Issac felt his heartbeat spike. "Barry, what are we going to do?" Barry didn't answer. Instead, he slipped a hand under his seat and pulled out a cold, black object, a handgun. Issac froze. "Is that legal?" "No," Barry said. "Necessary? Absolutely." The looters circled closer. Barry revved the engine. Seatbelt on. Issac clicked it with shaking fingers. The man in front slammed his pipe against the hood. "Get out. Leave the car. Now." Barry rolled down the window just 2 inches. "You have 3 seconds to move," he said calmly. 1, 2. The looters laughed. Barry didn't say 3. He hit the gas. The SUV roared forward, smashing through the line. Men jumped out of the way, some swinging pipes that clanged against the car. "Go! Go!" Issac shouted, ducking. A bottle shattered against Barry's window. Another man climbed onto the rear bumper, beating the back windshield. Barry jerked the wheel, swinging the SUV side to side until the man tumbled off. One final looter stepped out, shoulders squared, holding something Issac instantly recognized. A shotgun. "Oh God, Barry, look!" Barry swerved right. The shotgun blast thundered, ripping through the air. The rear window spiderweb didn't break completely. Barry didn't slow. He rammed through an abandoned sports car, sparks flying, tires screeching. The SUV fishtailed wildly, then regained momentum as they shot past the mob. And suddenly, they were clear. Issac collapsed back in his seat, heart pounding like a drum. Barry exhaled slowly. World changes fast when people get scared. Issac stared out the rear glass, voice trembling. This isn't fear, this is madness. Barry nodded grimly. Madness spreads quicker than earthquakes. Hours passed. The city skyline faded behind them, replaced by broken highways, distant fires, and emergency convoys. They passed a military checkpoint, abandoned. A gas station, burning. A collapsed bridge, still groaning from aftershocks. Issac stared at the destruction, numbed. Is everything gone? Barry gripped the wheel tighter. Boston's gone, son, and from the last radio chatter, half the state with it. Issac closed his eyes. Anna, the baby, please be safe. By late afternoon, the sky turned hazy with smoke. They were approaching the outskirts of Connecticut when Barry suddenly slowed. Something's not right, he murmured. Ahead, a semi-truck lay overturned across the road. Several smaller cars formed a makeshift barricade. Before Issac could ask, gunshots cracked. Ambush, Barry yelled. A bullet tore through the hood. Barry swerved hard left, but the ground beneath had fractured earlier. Tires hit uneven asphalt. The SUV skidded, spun, lost traction, and crashed violently into a guardrail. Isaac's head jerked sideways. Pain exploded behind his eyes. Barry groaned, gripping his shoulder. I'm good, but the attackers were already approaching. We need to move, Issac gasped. Barry kicked the broken door open. Follow me now. Gunfire rattled behind them as they sprinted into a deserted industrial yard, ducking behind rusted containers. Isaac's lungs burned. Barry covered him, firing 2 warning shots. Run, Barry barked. They dashed deeper into the yard until the attackers' footsteps faded. Only then did Barry point at something leaning against a chain-link fence. A motorcycle. Dusty, old, but intact. Issac blinked. You think that will run? Barry smirked. Son, Marines can make anything run. He yanked the tarp off, checked the fuel, tapped the ignition wiring, hot-wired it in seconds. The engine sputtered, then roared. Issac stared in awe. You're unbelievable. Barry swung onto the bike. Hop on. New York's still hours away, and this is our only chance. Issac climbed behind him, gripping tightly. As the sun dipped behind the ruined landscape, they sped into the burning horizon, towards New York, and towards a destiny Issac never saw coming.
The motorcycle roared down the cracked highway, Issac gripping tightly behind Barry. Dust and debris whipped across their faces as the ruined highway stretched ahead, fractured and jagged. Behind them, Boston's ruins disappeared into smoke and fire, a grim reminder of the destruction they had escaped. But the world beyond was no less dangerous. Barry steered expertly, taking the smallest gaps in the wrecked roads. Cars were scattered like fallen toys, some still burning. Bridges hung by twisted steel, and the aftershocks beneath them made the ground tremble like a living thing. Issac, stay alert, Mary shouted, leaning low over the handlebars as a sudden tremor shook the asphalt. A small overpass cracked ahead, sending concrete chunks crashing to the side. Isaac's heart pounded. Every nerve in his body screamed panic. He had left Jamal behind, left Boston behind, and now even the roads ahead seemed to betray him. Yet somewhere deep inside, one thought dominated all others. Anna, the baby. He had to reach them. Hours later, as the skyline of New York came into view, Isaac's chest tightened. The city he had known all his life was unrecognizable. Skyscrapers leaned at impossible angles, glass and steel shredded like paper in the quake.
Smoke plumed from collapsed buildings, mingling with the orange glow of fires below. People screamed in every direction. Cars crashed into each other, abandoned or flipped. Looters ran rampant, snatching whatever they could from broken stores. Police barricades were smashed. The National Guard tried to intervene, but chaos reigned. Isaac held his breath as Barry navigated the bike through the carnage. "We can't stop now," Barry said, his voice steady. "We'll find shelter once we're past the downtown chaos." Isaac's eyes scanned the streets, catching glimpses of desperate families carrying children, elderly people crawling on hands and knees, and paramedics dragging the injured away. He felt a pang in his chest. His urgency to reach Anna and the baby was now layered with the bitter awareness of countless others who might never make it. As they entered a narrow side street, Isaac noticed movement ahead. Shadows shifted, weapons glinting in the dim light. "Barry, look!" he shouted. Before he could blink, a group of armed men blocked the street. They were younger than the looters they had faced before, but faster and more organized. They brandished bats, pipes, and makeshift rifles. Their eyes gleamed with predatory anticipation. Barry slowed, surveying the gang. "They want everything we've got," he muttered. "Get ready." Isaac's stomach tightened. He wasn't a fighter, not really, but there was no choice. Survival demanded action. The gang surrounded them, shouting threats in broken, panicked voices. Barry flicked Isaac a glance. "Follow my lead. Don't let go." Isaac nodded, gripping Barry tighter as the bike wove unpredictably through the street. Pipes clanged against the steel body. One weapon grazed the seat. Bullets kicked up concrete dust near their feet. Every second was a dance with death. And then, in a move Isaac would never forget, Barry slammed the bike into the side of a dumpster, sending two gang members sprawling. He kicked the throttle, and the bike leapt over a collapsed fence, weaving between flaming vehicles and scattered debris. Isaac barely held on, his knuckles white as his stomach churned with terror and adrenaline. Finally, after narrowly escaping the gang, Barry pulled the bike toward an abandoned subway entrance. The concrete steps were cracked, but it was a temporary refuge. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the faint smell of smoke. Flickering emergency lights illuminated the darkness, casting shadows that seemed to move like ghostly fingers across the walls. Isaac collapsed against a wall, gasping for breath. I can't believe we're alive," he whispered. Barry knelt beside him. "You're alive because you had to be, but this is only the beginning. New York is collapsing, Isaac. You'll have to be ready for anything if we're going to make it to Washington." Isaac nodded silently. His mind raced with images of Anna and the baby. They were out there, somewhere, and he had to reach them. From the darkness came a sudden noise, a metallic scraping echoing in the tunnels. Both men froze. Shadows moved, closer this time. "Not alone," Barry muttered. Out of the darkness, a young girl stumbled toward them, covered in dust, her clothes torn. "Please, help me, my brother," she cried. Isaac's heart clenched. Even in his fear, he couldn't ignore the plea, but Barry held up a hand. "One step at a time. We survive first, then we help. Otherwise, no one gets anywhere." Isaac reluctantly nodded. The child's tears reflected the world's chaos back at him, a stark reminder of why survival mattered. Suddenly, the tunnel shook. Not a tremor this time, a deliberate movement. Someone or something was moving above them. The flickering light revealed shadows of armed men descending. "Gangs," Barry muttered, looking for easy prey. Isaac's hands shook. He had never held a gun. He wasn't a fighter, but Barry moved silently, positioning Isaac behind a concrete pillar. The first man appeared, flashlight cutting through the darkness. Bari struck first, disarming him before he could fire. A chain of confusion followed, guns clattered, shouts echoed. Issac felt fear squeeze his chest, yet adrenaline sharpened his reflexes. He ducked, rolled, moved instinctively with Bari's guidance. By the time the ambush ended, 4 attackers lay incapacitated, groaning. The girl huddled against Issac. Bari checked the exit. "We go now. Don't stop. New York isn't safe for another second." Issac helped the girl to her feet. Together, the trio emerged from the subway into the shattered city streets. Smoke, chaos, and fire surrounded them. But Issac kept moving forward, eyes fixed on one goal: Washington, Anna, the baby. As they ran, Issac glimpsed a sight that would haunt him forever. A section of the city completely collapsed. A hospital, a school, and a residential building lay in a single twisted heap of steel and concrete. Cries for help echoed faintly from under rubble. Isaac's mind raced. He had escaped Boston, left Jamal behind, and now, even here, death was everywhere. Bari looked at him grimly. Earthquake isn't the only danger. People become monsters when the world falls apart. Stay close, listen, survive. Issac swallowed, determination hardening in his chest. He was terrified, exhausted, emotionally shattered. Yet nothing could stop him. Not gangs, not collapsing cities, not fear. Because one thought burned brighter than any danger. He had to reach Anna. He had to see his baby.
The highway stretched before Issac like a war zone. Asphalt cracked, chunks of concrete littered the road, and abandoned vehicles stood as silent monuments to the chaos. Smoke drifted from fires along the roadside, blending with the dust and the acrid stench of ruptured gas lines. Issac held tight to the small motorcycle, gripping the handles until his knuckles whitened. Barry rode ahead with the calm precision of a soldier, eyes scanning every turn, every shadow, every potential threat. "You're quiet," Barry said, over the roar of the engine. "Thinking about your baby?" Issac nodded, swallowing hard. "Every second. I have to get there." Barry gave him a brief, grim smile. "Good. That's the only thing that'll keep you alive out here." The earth groaned beneath them as they approached a stretch of the interstate. Suddenly, the highway itself seemed to rise and fall like the back of some monstrous creature. Asphalt buckled. A nearby overpass collapsed with a roar, sending steel and concrete raining down. "Hold on!" Barry shouted. He swerved the motorcycle sharply, narrowly avoiding a falling beam that could have killed them instantly. Issac clutched Barry tighter, eyes wide with terror. Every second was a life-or-death decision. Then came the flash floods. Water from broken riverbanks surged onto the highway, sweeping away cars like toys. Barry twisted the handlebars expertly, keeping them upright, but the current was relentless. "We can't stop! Keep moving!" Barry yelled. Isaac's mind raced, heart pounding in tandem with the engine. Every instinct screamed to survive, yet fear clawed at him from every side. As they neared a highway junction, a group of desperate survivors emerged, some waving hands in panic, others brandishing weapons. Isaac's stomach sank as one man lunged at Barry from the roadside, a crowbar raised. "Barry, look out!" Issac screamed. Barry deflected the first blow, but his companions surrounded them. Bullets ricocheted, sparks flying. Barry steered the bike skillfully, dodging several attacks, but Issac realized they couldn't escape this ambush on the narrow, fractured highway. Barry suddenly veered toward a small side ramp leading to a barely visible service road. "Trust me," he shouted, "it's the only way." Issac didn't have a choice. He clung to Barry as the bike plunged into the uncertain path. The service road was slick with water and debris. A massive truck, out of control and careening toward them, appeared around a bend. Barry's instincts took over instantly. He swerved the bike, trying to protect Issac, but there was no way to avoid the impact.
"Isaac, jump!" Barry yelled. But Isaac couldn't move fast enough. Barry twisted the bike using his body as a shield. The truck slammed into them, metal crushing, tires screeching. The world exploded in fire and debris. Isaac hit the asphalt hard, rolling instinctively. Pain exploded through his body, but when he opened his eyes, he saw Barry pinned beneath the bike, still alive, but gravely wounded. Blood trickled from his forehead. Barry looked at Isaac, voice weak but calm. Take this," he whispered, reaching into his jacket. He pulled out a Swiss Army knife, handing it to Isaac. My gift for your baby," he coughed. "Keep it safe. Use it. Protect him." Isaac's throat tightened. "Barry, no! Don't leave me!" Barry's eyes softened. I have no one left. Family gone. Highway accident 2 years ago. I'm done. You live for both of us." Tears blurred Isaac's vision. He wanted to scream, to fight, to do anything to save Barry, but the reality was undeniable. The man who had guided him, protected him, and fought beside him had given everything. And now he was gone. Barry's body went still. The smoke and dust swirled around them, hiding the hero from sight, leaving only the memory and the Swiss Army knife clutched in Isaac's trembling hand. Isaac stumbled to his feet, gripping the knife as if it were a lifeline. Every step he took was haunted by Barry's sacrifice, yet the memory strengthened his resolve. "Oh, I'll make it," he whispered to himself, voice trembling. "For Anna, for the baby, for Barry." Around him, the world was still falling apart. Floodwaters rose, fires raged, and aftershocks split the ground beneath his feet. But Isaac moved forward, driven by a singular purpose: to survive and to reach his family. Every turn of the motorcycle reminded him of Barry's calm, measured courage. Every obstacle, every threat was now not just a challenge to survive, but a tribute to the man who had saved his life. By nightfall, Isaac found himself on the outskirts of New York, exhausted and battered. Fires lit the skyline like grotesque lanterns, but through the smoke, he glimpsed a partially standing bridge, an exit route south towards safety and eventually Washington. Isaac held the Swiss Army knife close. He knew it was more than a tool. It was a symbol. Barry's last act of humanity in a world turned savage. And in his mind, the man who had no one, who had lost everything, was now part of Isaac's mission. "Barry, I'll make it," he whispered, voice choked with emotion. "I'll keep your gift safe, I'll keep your courage alive, and I'll see my baby. I promise." With that resolve burning inside him, Isaac rode into the darkness, the ruined city behind him, fires reflecting in his tear-filled eyes, every heartbeat echoing with the memory of the man who had sacrificed everything so he could live.
The sun rose over a broken world, casting a dim, eerie glow over shattered highways and flooded streets. Isaac's legs ached from the ride, his hands blistered from gripping the motorcycle handles, but there was no time to rest. Every mile brought new dangers, but giving up was not an option. His wife and newborn son were waiting. He had to survive. The world had changed. What was once familiar was now a nightmare. Rivers had swallowed entire towns. Bridges were washed away. Tornadoes ripped through abandoned farmlands. Fires licked the edges of highways, sending ash and smoke into the sky. And Isaac rode through it all, alone, clutching Barry's Swiss Army knife as a reminder of the man who had given his life for him. By mid-morning, Isaac arrived at a small town near a flooded river. Water had risen to chest level in many places, and debris floated along like bodies of a drowned world. Houses leaned at impossible angles. Rooftops were the only dry refuge. Isaac slowed the bike, scanning the chaos. That's when he saw them. A small family atop a tilted house, desperately trying to hold on.
A mother clutched her 7-year-old daughter tightly. Beside them, an elderly grandmother clung to a support beam, while their dog barked frantically, teeth bared, but unable to escape. The floodwaters churned violently, dragging everything in its path. Issac felt his heart tighten. He wanted to help, but the currents were strong, and the debris threatened to pull anyone down in seconds. The family shouted, "Help! Please!" Issac's hands shook as he revved the motorcycle, trying to reach them safely. He threw ropes, branches, anything to pull them closer, but the river was merciless. With a sudden, deafening roar, the roof beneath the family's feet gave way. The mother screamed. The little girl clung to her. The grandmother's cries pierced the air, and the dog barked, helpless. Within seconds, the floodwaters dragged them away. Issac froze, powerless. The world seemed to stop, and all he could do was watch. His hands shook as the water swallowed them, leaving only floating debris in their wake. Tears streamed down his face, but he couldn't stop. He couldn't risk getting caught in the same current. The cruel reality struck him hard. Life was fragile, and death could come in an instant. He whispered to himself, voice raw with grief, "I have to reach them. I can't be helpless. I can't. I must survive." The floodwaters didn't end there. Issac had to navigate submerged highways, abandoned cars, and broken bridges. The motorcycle's tires slipped on hidden debris beneath the water, sending him wobbling dangerously. Each misstep could be fatal. Yet every time he stumbled, every time the bike nearly toppled, he forced himself to keep moving. Barry's sacrifice was etched into his memory. The Swiss Army knife in his pocket reminded him that survival was not just for him. It was for Anna, for the baby, and for every life the world had swallowed. The terrain became increasingly treacherous. Trees uprooted by the quake blocked the roads, tornadoes ripped across open fields, and heavy rains made vision almost impossible. But Issac pressed on, determination burning in his chest like fire. Everywhere he looked, Issac saw the aftermath of the disaster. Families separated, buildings crumbled, and cries for help echoed from every corner. He remembered Jamal, left behind in Boston. He remembered Barry, giving his life to protect him. And now he had witnessed the family lost to the flood. It was a cruel, merciless world, but it also made him realize how precious life was. He had a mission: survive, no matter what. As he rode, the memory of the family's screams and the little girl's terrified eyes haunted him. It was a weight he carried with every mile, a reminder that every second mattered, that every choice mattered. By late afternoon, Issac approached a collapsed bridge spanning a swollen river. The current was roaring like an angry beast. Trees and vehicles floated along like toys. The bridge itself groaned under the water pressure, steel cables snapping one by one. Issac gritted his teeth. The motorcycle would not survive the water, yet there was no alternative. The path along the remaining concrete was narrow and slick. He took a deep breath, whispered Barry's words in his mind. "Stay alive, for them, for everyone you love." The bike bounced over uneven concrete, water splashing high on either side. Each inch was a fight. Each wobble threatened to send him into the violent current. Suddenly, a floating tree trunk slammed against the edge of the bridge. Issac leaned hard, narrowly avoiding being swept away. His heart pounded, his chest burned. Every nerve screamed at him to stop, but he couldn't. Finally, with a desperate lunge, the bike shot onto solid ground. Issac collapsed on the asphalt, drenched, exhausted, and mentally drained. He opened his pocket and touched Barry's Swiss Army knife, now sticky with grime from his journey. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Barry, I'll make it. I'll reach Anna. I'll keep your gift safe. I'll survive. For you, for them, for all the lives lost." The sun set over the flooded highways, reflecting on the water like molten gold. The world was still a nightmare, but Issac's resolve had never been stronger. Every loss he witnessed, the family, Jamal, Barry, etched itself into his soul. He could not allow their sacrifices to be in vain. Issac mounted the motorcycle once more, gripping the handles tightly. His gaze was fixed on the horizon. Washington was still miles away, but he would not stop. He would not falter. He had survived Boston, escaped New York's chaos, and crossed the flooded states. Nothing would break him now. One thought dominated every beat of his heart. Anna, the baby. He had to reach them alive.
The sun barely pierced the heavy clouds as Issac rode along the shattered highways, each mile a battle against exhaustion, hunger, and fear. The world around him was a graveyard of civilization, toppled buildings, broken vehicles, and the lingering stench of fire and decay. Yet nothing could shake the singular goal driving him forward, Anna and his newborn son. Barry's sacrifice lingered in his mind, the Swiss Army knife pressed against his chest, a symbol of courage and humanity amidst chaos. Every brush with death, every flooded road and collapsing bridge, every desperate struggle against gangs or nature's fury reminded him survival was not just for him, it was for those he loved and those who had given everything so he could live. As Issac approached Maryland, the highways grew treacherous. Sections of the road had vanished entirely, replaced by rushing rivers of debris and water. Vehicles trapped in floods bobbed like wreckage in a storm-tossed sea. He maneuvered the motorcycle through submerged lanes, ducking under traffic lights and swerving around jagged steel. The bike slipped once, nearly throwing him into the currents, but Issac fought to maintain control. Each heartbeat pounded with terror, yet also with determination. Then came the looters. A group of desperate men armed with pipes and bats blocked the path. Their eyes glinted with malice, scanning for easy prey. Issac's heart raced. He was tired, injured, and ill-equipped. He remembered Barry's words, "Stay alive, keep moving, for them." With a surge of adrenaline, he revved the engine, pushing through a narrow gap between two abandoned cars. The looters shouted and swung their weapons, but the bike shot forward, tires skidding across debris. The chase lasted only seconds, but it left Issac trembling, lungs burning, and tears streaming down his dust-covered face. The outskirts of Washington came into view, but the journey had one last cruel test. A massive landslide had blocked the highway. Boulders and mud created an impassable wall. Floodwaters surged beside it, carrying broken trees and remnants of homes. Issac dismounted, inspecting the obstacle. Every logical thought screamed that this was impossible. The motorcycle couldn't climb the debris, the currents were too strong, and time was running out. He sat on a rock, panting, gripping the Swiss Army knife tightly. He remembered the family in New York, swept away by the floods. He remembered Jamal and Barry. Each loss added weight to his resolve. He could not fail. He would not fail. Then he noticed a narrow path along the edge of the debris, a perilous strip barely wide enough for him and the bike. With trembling hands, he guided the motorcycle forward. Rocks tumbled beneath the tires, water splashed over the handlebars, but Issac refused to stop. Step by step, inch by inch, he pushed forward, guided by sheer willpower. Finally, after hours of struggle, Issac saw the familiar white facade of MedStar Washington Hospital Center. The sight sent a surge of emotion through him, relief, terror, hope,
and exhaustion all mingled in one overwhelming wave. He parked the bike haphazardly, ignoring the chaos outside. Inside, the hospital was still functional, though strained with injured patients and exhausted staff. Isaac pushed through the doors, calling Anna's name hoarsely. And then he saw her, Anna, holding their newborn son, eyes wide open with shock and relief. She looked like a vision of fragile hope in the middle of destruction. "Anna!" Isaac shouted, rushing to her side. She dropped the baby into his arms. For a moment, the world outside, the earthquakes, the floods, the fires, the loss, disappeared. He held his son close, tears streaming down his face. I made it. I made it to you," he whispered. The tiny infant cooed softly, unaware of the horrors outside, yet embodying every ounce of hope Isaac had fought for. Anna hugged him tightly, her own tears soaking his shoulders. "You came. You really came," she said, voice breaking. Isaac reached into his pocket and pulled out the Swiss Army knife. "Barry, he gave me this. For him. So I could survive. To see you both." Anna held the knife gently in her hand, understanding the weight of the gift and the sacrifice behind it. That night, Isaac sat by the hospital window, holding his son and staring at the ruined city beyond. Washington, like Boston and New York before it, had been scarred by the earthquake. Fires still burned in distant neighborhoods, and sirens screamed through the streets. Yet, in the quiet of the hospital room, Isaac finally allowed himself to mourn. He mourned Jamal, swept away in Boston. He mourned the family lost to the floods. He mourned Barry, who had sacrificed everything so he could live. Yet amidst the grief, there was triumph. He had survived the impossible. He had reached his family, and he had kept alive the memory of those who had fallen. The Swiss Army knife, now resting on the bedside table, was more than a tool. It was a symbol of courage, humanity, and sacrifice. Every time Isaac looked at it, he would remember Barry and the countless others who had been swallowed by the disaster. Their legacy lived in his survival. Days passed. Relief efforts were underway. The National Guard, fire rescue teams, and volunteers struggled to bring order and hope to the shattered city. Hospitals worked tirelessly to care for the injured, and Isaac, though scarred physically and emotionally, finally felt a spark of something he hadn't allowed himself to feel in weeks: hope. He watched his son sleep peacefully, tiny fingers curled around his own, and he whispered softly, "We'll survive. We'll rebuild, and we'll honor those who gave their lives so we could live." Outside, the city was still in ruins, but inside, in the warmth of the hospital room, a family had survived. A man who had seen death and devastation had found a reason to continue, a reason beyond survival. And somewhere in his heart, Barry's sacrifice lived on. Isaac knew the road ahead would be long. Rebuilding a life in a world changed forever would be a monumental challenge. But he had seen the worst, endured the impossible, and survived against odds that would have broken anyone else. As he looked at his sleeping son, Isaac made a silent vow. "No matter what comes next, I will survive. I will protect you, and I will carry the memory of those we lost every single day." The earthquakes, floods, and chaos had tested him. They had stripped away everything but his courage and love. And now, holding the fragile life of his newborn son, Isaac knew he had won the greatest battle of all. This concludes Isaac's epic journey of survival, sacrifice, and the resilience of the human spirit.